The kiss lasted 7 seconds. 7 seconds that destroyed a marriage, ended a career, and changed everything. Lana's lips pressed against Chad's mouth in front of 300 people. Colleagues, executives, interns who barely learned where the bathrooms were. The conference room went silent except for the sound of someone's coffee cup hitting the floor. Alex stood 10 feet away, frozen like someone had ripped his heart out through his chest and held it up for everyone to see. His wife, kissing another man, at his workplace, during the monthly all-hands meeting. And then she smiled. "I'm done," Lana announced, her voice cutting through the silence like broken glass. Done being married to a pathetic nobody who'll never amount to anything. Chad's friends in the back started laughing, nervous at first, then louder. Someone shouted, "Guess we know she's upgrading." More laughter, cruel laughter. Alex's hands trembled. His cheap digital watch, the one Lana always mocked, felt heavy on his wrist. What nobody in that room knew, what even Lana didn't know, was that in exactly 16 hours, that pathetic nobody would become the richest person in the building. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before I tell you how Alex got his revenge, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now, because this story is about to get wild. And subscribe, because trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Now, let's rewind. Let's go back to where it all began. 6 months before the kiss. Alex Carter was the kind of man people forgot about. Not because he was boring, not because he was stupid, but because he was quiet. He wore the same 3 rotation of button-down shirts, carried the same scratched-up laptop bag, and ate lunch alone in his car most days. His watch was a joke around the office, a chunky digital thing that looked like it came from a gas station clearance bin. Black rubber band, faded screen, the kind of watch a middle schooler might wear to gym class. "Why do you even wear that thing?" his wife Lana had asked him once, her nose wrinkled like she'd smelled something rotten. "It's embarrassing. People notice, Alex. People talk." "It reminds me of something important," he'd said quietly. "It reminds people you're cheap," she'd shot back. That was 2 years into their marriage, back when she still pretended to care about his feelings. By year 5, she stopped pretending altogether. Alex worked at Quantum Solutions, a mid-sized tech company in downtown Seattle. Glass buildings, overpriced coffee in the lobby, the kind of place where everyone talked about disruption and synergy, but half the staff spent their afternoons on LinkedIn looking for better jobs. He was a senior engineer, not a manager, not a director. Just there, doing his work, going home. Except Alex wasn't just doing his work. For the last 10 years, since before he'd even met Lana, Alex had been building something. A project so secretive that only 3 people in the entire company knew it existed. The CEO, the CFO, and Sarah. Sarah Kim was Alex's one true friend at Quantum Solutions. She was 32, sharp as a knife, and the only person who ever asked him how he was doing and actually waited for the real answer. "You're going to change everything," Sarah had told him one late night when they were the last 2 in the office. She was sitting on his desk, swinging her legs, watching him type code that looked like a foreign language. "You know that, right?" Alex had smiled, one of his rare, real smiles. "If it works." "When it works," Sarah corrected. "And when it does, I'm going to say I told you so." Loudly, in front of everyone. But Sarah kept a secret. Even when people made jokes about Alex being the guy who never got promoted. Even when Lana would show up at company events and make snide comments about his salary. Sarah shut it down. Quietly, firmly. "Leave him alone," she'd say. "You don't know what you're talking about." Most people listened. Lana never did. Lana Carter, formerly Lana Mitchell, was beautiful in a way that turned heads and started whispers. Long dark hair, high cheekbones, the kind of smile that looked warm until you realize it never reached your eyes. She worked in marketing at a different company across town, but she loved coming to Quantum Solutions events, loved the attention, loved reminding people she was Alex's wife, which somehow made her feel important by association. Except lately, she didn't feel important. She felt stuck. Alex wasn't climbing the ladder. He wasn't bringing home promotions or raises. He worked late, came home tired, and spent weekends in his home office tinkering with the project he refused to talk about. It's like being married to a ghost, she complained to her friends over brunch one Sunday. He's there, but he's not there, you know? And for what? He's not even making good money. We live in a rental. I drive a used car. This isn't what I signed up for. Her friend Jessica had leaned in, smirking. So leave him. Lana had laughed, but the idea planted itself. And then she met Chad. Chad Rivers was everything Alex wasn't, or at least everything Alex appeared not to be. Tall, loud, confident. He wore expensive suits and drove a leased BMW and talked about his portfolio at parties, even though most of his money came from family connections, not actual skill. He was a vice president at Quantum Solutions, young for the role, cocky about it, and he was interested in Lana. It started innocent enough. Compliments at company mixers, a lingering handshake, then texts, then drinks after work when Alex was busy with his project. Chad made Lana feel seen, made her feel like she mattered. What Lana didn't know was that Chad didn't actually care about her. He cared about what she represented, a way in, a connection. Office politics played through pillow talk. What's Alex working on? Chad had asked her once, casually, his hand on her thigh in the front seat of his car. I don't know, Lana had said, annoyed. He never tells me anything. It's some boring code thing. Why? Chad had shrugged. Just curious. Seems like he spent a lot of time on it. He'd been trying to figure out if Alex was a threat, if there was something brewing that could affect Chad's standing. But Alex was quiet, invisible, so Chad dismissed him. Big mistake. 3 weeks before the kiss, Quantum Solutions threw a company party at a rooftop bar downtown. Champagne, appetizers that were too small, a DJ playing music nobody wanted to dance to. Lana showed up in a red dress that made people stop mid-conversation. She walked straight past Alex, who was standing near the windows with Sarah, and went directly to Chad. Sarah watched. Her jaw tightened. She's not even trying to hide it anymore, Sarah muttered. Alex said nothing, just stared into his drink. Later that night, Sarah found Lana near the bar. Can I talk to you? Sarah asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were hard. Sure, Lana said, barely glancing at her. You don't know what Alex is really building, Sarah said quietly. You should be careful. Lana laughed. Actually laughed. Oh my God. Are you serious right now? You think I care about whatever boring project he's wasting his time on. I think you should care about your husband. Lana's smile turned cold. My husband is a nobody, Sarah. And if you're smart, you'll stop defending him before people start thinking you're as pathetic as he is. She walked away. Sarah stood there, fists clenched. She didn't say anything to Alex that night, but she remembered. The day before, Lana had made her decision. She was leaving Alex. She'd already told Chad. They'd been sleeping together for 2 months now, and Chad had started talking about what comes next. You deserve better, Chad had told her the night before, lying in a hotel bed while Alex thought she was at a work conference. Someone who actually appreciates you. Someone with ambition. I know, Lana had whispered. So do it, Chad urged. Make it public. Make it clear. Show him you're done. And Lana, drunk on attention and resentment and the fantasy of a better life, agreed. She was going to humiliate Alex in front of everyone, at the office, tomorrow. The monthly all-hands meeting was usually boring. Sales updates, product launches, the CEO talking about company culture while people scroll their phones under the table. 300 employees crammed into the largest conference room. Standing room only in the back. Alex was near the front, sitting beside Sarah. He looked tired. He always looked tired these days. The CEO was mid-sentence, something about quarterly projections. When the door at the back slammed open, everyone turned. Lana walked in. She wasn't supposed to be there. She didn't work at Quantum Solutions, but she walked in like she owned the place. Her heels clicking against the floor, her eyes locked on Alex. Lana, Alex stood up confused. What are you? Sit down, she snapped. The room went silent. I came here to say something, Lana announced, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. Something I should have said a long time ago. Alex's face went pale. Lana, not here. I'm done, she said, cutting him off. Done pretending. Done lying. Done being married to a pathetic nobody who'll never amount to anything. Gasps rippled through the room. Sarah stood up. Stop. But Lana ignored her. You want to know the truth? Lana continued, her voice rising. I've been seeing someone else. Someone who actually has a future. Someone who isn't wasting his life on some sad little project nobody cares about. She turned. Chad was standing near the back, smirking. And then Lana walked over to him and kissed him. She humiliated him at work for being a nobody, unaware the company was about to pay him $1.2 billion. The kiss lasted 7 seconds, but the damage lasted a lifetime. When Lana finally pulled away from Chad, she was smiling. That cold, satisfied smile of someone who thought they'd just won something. Chad's arm was around her waist. His friends in the back, other young executives who thought the world owed them everything, started clapping. Slowly at first, then louder. Someone whistled. Damn! She's upgrading! A voice called out from the crowd. Laughter exploded. Nervous, shocked, cruel laughter that filled every corner of that conference room. Alex stood frozen. His face had gone completely white. His hands hung at his sides like they'd forgotten how to work. He looked like a man who just watched his entire world collapse. And in that moment, the CEO stood at the front, mouth open, completely blindsided. Security was already moving toward the door, but nobody knew what to do. This had never happened before. Enough. Sarah's voice cut through the noise like a blade. She was standing now, facing the crowd, her eyes blazing. This isn't right, she said firmly. This isn't funny. Shut up, all of you. The laughter died down. Some people looked ashamed. Others just looked away. But Lana wasn't done. She turned back to Alex one last time, her voice dripping with venom. I'm filing for divorce. You'll hear from my lawyer. She looked down at his wrist, at that stupid, cheap watch. And maybe now you'll finally throw away that embarrassing piece of junk you're always wearing, she added with a laugh. God, even your watch screams loser. Then she walked out. Chad followed her, his arms still around her shoulders, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. The room stayed silent. Alex stood there for another moment. Then, without a word, he turned and walked out the opposite door. Sarah started to follow him, but he shook his head. I need to be alone, he said quietly. And he left. By that evening, the video was everywhere. Someone had recorded the whole thing on their phone. The kiss, the laughter, Lana's speech, all of it. It spread through the company's Slack like wildfire, then to Twitter, then Reddit. Wife humiliates husband at his own workplace, trended for 6 hours. The comments were brutal. This is why you never marry up. Poor guy. You could see his soul leave his body. Chad's a snake, but honestly, can you blame her? That last one hurt the most. Because some people agreed with Lana. Alex was boring, quiet, a nobody. Why wouldn't she leave him? Lana sat in Chad's apartment that night, drinking wine, scrolling through the comments with a smile. People are on my side, she said, showing Chad her phone. Look, they're saying I deserve better. Chad barely looked up from his own phone. Yeah, that's great. She frowned. You okay? Fine, he muttered, but his jaw was tight. The truth was, Chad was starting to panic. He'd just made out with a co-worker's wife in front of the entire company. His boss had seen it. The CEO had seen it. What if this hurt his career? What if people started seeing him as the villain instead of the winner? Maybe we should lay low for a while, Chad said carefully. Lana's smile faded. Lay low? Chad, I just left my husband for you. Publicly. You said you wanted this. I know. I do. He rubbed his face. Let's just see how things play out, okay? She stared at him. For the first time, a tiny seed of doubt planted itself in her mind. But she pushed it away. She'd made her choice, and it was the right one. It had to be. Alex sat alone in his car in the parking garage for 2 hours. He didn't cry. He just sat there, staring at the steering wheel. His phone buzzed. Texts from coworkers. Some supportive, most nosy. He turned it off. Finally, around 9 p.m., there was a knock on his window. Sarah. She was holding 2 coffees. "Unlock the door," she said. He did. She climbed into the passenger seat and handed him a cup. They sat in silence for a long time. "I'm sorry," Sarah finally said. "It's not your fault." "I know, but I'm still sorry." Alex took a sip of coffee. It was cold now. "I should have seen it coming," he said quietly. "She's been pulling away for months. I thought if I finished the project, if I could finally show her what I've been working on, maybe she'd understand. Maybe she'd be proud." Sarah looked at him. "Alex, I was stupid," he said. "I thought love was enough." "It should be," Sarah said. "It should be enough. But some people—" She paused. "Some people only love what you can give them, not who you are." Alex nodded slowly. "For what it's worth," Sarah continued, "I've always known who you are, and you're not a nobody, not even close." He looked at her, really looked at her. "Thank you," he said, "for everything, for defending me, for being here, always," Sarah said simply. They sat there until midnight. Alex came back to work the next morning. People stared. Whispers followed him down every hallway. "That's him. Oh my God, I can't believe he showed up." I'd call in sick for a week if I were him. But Alex kept his head down and went straight to his desk. Sarah was already there, waiting. "You good?" she asked. "No," he said honestly. "But I will be." Chad showed up an hour late, sunglasses on, trying to act like nothing had happened. But people were looking at him differently now. Some with respect, like he'd pulled off some kind of power move. Others with disgust. His boss, a sharp woman named Margaret, called him into her office. "What the hell were you thinking?" she asked, arms crossed. "It just happened." "Bullshit," Margaret cut him off. "You may have seen in front of the entire company. You embarrassed a colleague. You made us look unprofessional." Chad shifted uncomfortably. "It won't happen again." "It better not," Margaret said coldly. "You're on thin ice, Rivers. Don't forget that." He left her office sweating. Maybe this hadn't been the victory he thought it was. At 2 p.m., an email went out to the entire company. Subject: mandatory all-hands meeting. 4 p.m. today. Attendance is required. No exceptions. People started speculating immediately. Think they're firing someone? Maybe it's about yesterday. Maybe they're shutting down a department. Alex saw the email. His stomach dropped, but Sarah grabbed his arm. "It's happening," she whispered. "What?" She smiled. "Just trust me." At 4 p.m., every single employee crowded back into the same conference room from yesterday. The energy was tense, uncomfortable. Alex sat in the back this time. Sarah sat beside him. The CEO, Richard Moss, walked the front. He was a tall man in his 60s, with gray hair and the kind of presence that made people shut up and listen. "Thank you all for coming," Richard began. His voice was calm. "I know yesterday was difficult, inappropriate, and I want to apologize that you all had to witness that." People nodded. "But today," Richard continued, "I'm here to talk about something else. Something that's been 10 years in the making." He clicked a button. A presentation appeared on the screen behind him. Project Helix. People leaned forward. "For the last decade," Richard said, "one of our engineers has been working on a project in complete secrecy. A project that has now resulted in the most significant technological breakthrough this company, and frankly this industry, has ever seen." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Last night," Richard continued, "we finalized the sale of Project Helix's core technology to a global consortium of tech companies. The deal includes patents, licensing agreements, and future development rights." He paused. "The total value of the acquisition is $1.2 billion. The room exploded. Gasps, shouts, people turning to each other in shock. "And the engineer who made this possible," Richard said, his voice rising over the noise, "the man who spent 10 years of his life building this, who sacrificed evenings and weekends and time with his family to create something extraordinary." He turned and looked directly at Alex. "Is Alex Carter." Silence. Then the room erupted into applause. Thunderous, deafening applause. People stood up, clapping, cheering. Alex sat frozen, his face red, his eyes wide. Sarah was grinning beside him, tears in her eyes. "Get up," she whispered. "Go." Alex slowly stood. The applause got louder. Richard gestured for him to come to the front. Alex walked down the aisle in a daze. People reached out to shake his hand, pat his back. When he reached the front, Richard shook his hand firmly. "Ladies and gentlemen," Richard announced, "Alex Carter is now the majority shareholder of Project Helix. His personal payout from this deal is $1.2 billion in cash and stock options." The room lost its mind. Richard wasn't done. "Now," he said, holding up his hand for quiet, "some of you may have noticed Alex wears this watch." He pointed to Alex's wrist. People looked. That same cheap, beat-up digital watch. "You might think it's just an old watch," Richard continued, "but it's not. This watch is the original prototype casing for Project Helix. Alex built the first version of his technology inside this watch 10 years ago in his garage. He's worn it every single day since as a reminder of where he started." People stared. "This watch," Richard said, "is now worth more than most of us will make in our entire lives." Stunned silence. Then someone started clapping again, and the applause came back, even louder than before. Lana saw the news online 30 minutes later. She was at a nail salon, scrolling through Twitter, when she saw the headline, "Quantum Solutions Engineer Becomes Billionaire Overnight." Her heart stopped. She clicked the article. There was a photo of Alex standing on stage, wearing that stupid watch. "No," she whispered. She read the article 3 times. $1.2 billion. Alex. Her Alex. The nobody. The loser. The man she'd humiliated in front of 300 people less than 24 hours ago. She grabbed her purse and ran. Lana burst into the Quantum Solutions lobby at 5:15 p.m. Security tried to stop her. "I'm his wife," she screamed. "Let me through." Word traveled fast. By the time she reached the conference room, everyone knew she was there. The celebration had moved to the main floor. Champagne, music, people congratulating Alex. Lana shoved through the crowd. "Alex," she called out. "Alex, wait." He turned. She ran up to him, breathless, her eyes wet. "Alex, honey, please. Can we talk? Alone." The room went silent. Everyone was watching. "There's nothing to talk about," Alex said quietly. "Yes, there is," Lana insisted. Her voice cracked. "Yesterday I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was angry and stupid and—" "You were honest," Alex interrupted. She froze. "You told me exactly how you felt," Alex continued, his voice steady. "You called me a nobody. You said I'd never amount to anything. You kissed another man in front of everyone I work with. I didn't mean it." "Yes, you did." Tears ran down her face. "Alex, please. I love you. I've always loved you." "No," Alex said. "You love what you thought I could give you. And when you decided I couldn't give you enough, you left. That's not fair." "You made your choice," Alex said firmly. "You chose him. You chose to humiliate me. You chose to walk away." Lana grabbed his arm. "We can fix this. We can start over. I'll do anything." Alex gently pulled his arm free. "I already had divorce papers drawn up this morning," he said. "You'll be served tomorrow." Her face crumbled. "You can't do this." "I can, and I am." She looked around desperately, searching for sympathy, finding none. Then her eyes landed on Chad, standing awkwardly near the back. "Chad," she called out. Tell him we're together." Chad's face went pale. Everyone turned to look at him. I... Chad stammered. I think maybe we moved too fast, Lana. Her mouth fell open. What? I just think. Chad looked around nervously. Maybe this isn't the right time. You coward, Lana hissed. She turned back to Alex, desperate now. Please, she whispered. Please don't do this. Alex looked at her. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then he said, You told me yesterday that even my watch screams loser. He held up his wrist. This watch, he said quietly, is a prototype for the technology one just sold for $1.2 billion. This watch represents 10 years of work, 10 years of sacrifice, 10 years of late nights and missed dinners and weekends locked in my office. He looked her in the eyes. You never once asked me what I was building. You never cared. You just decided I was worth nothing. He lowered his hand. You were wrong. Lana stood there, shaking, tears streaming down her face. Security, Alex said calmly. Please escort her out. 2 security guards stepped forward. No, Lana sobbed. No, please. But they gently took her arms and led her toward the exit. She looked back one last time. Alex had already turned away. Alex walked over to Sarah, who was standing near the windows. You okay? She asked. I will be, he said. Then he turned to address the room. I want to say something, Alex announced. Everyone quieted down. For 10 years, I worked on Project Helix alone. Long nights, weekends, holidays. And for 10 years, only a handful of people knew what I was doing. Most of you probably thought I was just another engineer. People shifted uncomfortably. But one person, Alex continued, never doubted me, never mocked me, never made me feel small. He looked at Sarah. Sarah Kim has been my friend, my colleague, and my advocate. When people gossiped, she shut it down. When I needed help, she stayed late. When I doubted myself, she reminded me why I started. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Effective immediately, Alex said, Sarah is promoted to Executive Vice President of Innovation, along with a $50 million equity grant for my shares. The room erupted. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Alex, she started. You earned it, he said simply. 100 times over. She threw her arms around him. People cheered louder than they had all night. Chad tried to slip out during the celebration, but Richard stopped him. A word, Rivers. Chad's stomach dropped. They stepped into a side office. You're fired, Richard said flatly. What? You can't. I can, and I am. What you did yesterday was unprofessional, cruel, and showed a complete lack of judgment. You embarrassed this company and one of our most valuable employees. But I didn't know. Exactly, Richard said coldly. You didn't know. You assumed. You mocked a man without knowing who he was or what he was capable of. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Chad opened his mouth, closed it. Security will escort you out, Richard said. Clean out your desk tomorrow morning. Early. I don't want you here when everyone else arrives. Chad left the building 20 minutes later, box in hand, career in ruins. 6 months later, Lana's life fell apart slowly, then all at once. The video of the kiss resurfaced every few weeks, reminding the internet of her mistake. She couldn't find work. Her name was poison. Chad blocked her number after 2 weeks. She moved back in with her parents. The divorce was finalized. Alex was generous in the settlement, far more generous than she deserved. But she knew it wasn't out of love. It was pity, and somehow that hurt worse. Alex bought a house overlooking the water. He donated $200 million to engineering programs at universities across the country. He started a foundation for underrepresented engineers. And he still wore the watch. Every single day. 1 year later, Alex ran into Lana at a coffee shop. She looked tired. Older. She saw him and froze. Alex. Lana. Silence. You look good, she said quietly. Thank you. I'm sorry, she said, for everything. Alex nodded. I know. Do you think... She hesitated. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Alex thought about it. Maybe, he said honestly. Someday. But forgiveness doesn't mean going back. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I hope you find what you're looking for, Alex said gently. And he walked away. Alex never raised his voice. He didn't need to. The truth, and $1.2 billion, spoke louder than any comeback ever could. He learned that loyalty matters. That quiet strength is still strength. That the people who see you when you're nobody are the ones who matter when you're somebody. And he learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply becoming everything they said you'd never be. If this story moved you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me, what would you have done in Alex's position? And subscribe, because we've got more stories like this coming your way. Thanks for watching.